Imagine waking up before sunrise in ancient Rome. The streets are still dark. The air is cold. Most of the city sleeps peacefully behind stone walls and wooden doors. But not you. You are a slave. You do not own your home. You do not own your clothes. You do not even own your name. Everything belongs to someone else. Your body belongs to a master. Your time belongs to a master. Your future belongs to a master. Today, we are traveling back nearly 2,000 years to experience what life was really like for millions of slaves who lived inside the Roman Empire. So find a comfortable place to rest, dim the lights, and let's slowly step into the world of ancient Rome. Very few people dreamed of becoming slaves. Most were forced into slavery. Some were captured during wars. When Roman armies conquered distant lands, thousands of prisoners were taken. Entire villages disappeared. Families were separated forever. Men, women, and children were marched across long distances and sold in crowded slave markets. Others became slaves because of debt. A poor family struggling to survive might sell a child. Pirates also captured travelers and sold them. For many people, slavery began with fear, uncertainty, and loss. The moment someone became a slave, their old life ended. They became property, just like a horse, just like a tool, just like a cart. Roman law considered slaves possessions rather than people, and that single fact shaped every part of daily life. The slave market was often loud and crowded. Potential buyers inspected slaves carefully. They checked teeth. They examined muscles. They asked questions about age and skills. A healthy young worker could sell for a high price. An educated slave who could read and write was even more valuable. Some slaves wore signs around their necks describing their abilities. Others stood silently while buyers negotiated prices. Imagine standing on a platform while strangers discuss your value, not your personality, not your dreams, only your usefulness. For many slaves, this was the day they met the person who would control the rest of their lives. Life varied greatly depending on where a slave worked. Some were sent to farms. Some entered workshops. Others served inside wealthy homes. Household slaves often woke before dawn. The day began with cleaning. Floors were swept. Lamps were prepared. Water was carried. Food was organized. Every task had to be completed before the master's family awoke. Mistakes could lead to punishment. Speed mattered. Obedience mattered. Silence often mattered most. A good slave was expected to be invisible, always present, never noticed. Large Roman villas required many workers. Some cared for gardens. Others prepared meals. Some washed clothing. Others maintained baths. The work never truly ended. Ancient Rome lacked modern machines. Everything required human labor. Water had to be carried manually. Clothes had to be scrubbed by hand. Food preparation took hours. Even simple tasks demanded enormous effort. By sunset, many slaves were exhausted. Yet tomorrow would look almost identical. And the day after that, and the day after that. Not all slaves worked in comfortable homes. Many faced much harsher conditions. Mining was among the worst assignments. Roman mines were dangerous and dark. Workers spent long hours underground. Air quality was poor. Accidents were common. Escape was nearly impossible. Many miners never lived long lives. The work destroyed bodies slowly. Others worked in quarries, cutting heavy stone. The labor was brutal. Heat, dust, and exhaustion surrounded them every day. These slaves often experienced some of the harshest conditions in the empire. Most slaves lived in the countryside. Agriculture formed the foundation of Roman wealth. Huge farms needed workers. Fields stretched across the landscape. Slaves planted crops, harvested grain, cared for animals, repaired fences, worked from sunrise until sunset. Summer heat could be overwhelming. Winter brought cold winds and rain. Nature offered no sympathy. The farm demanded constant labor. Without workers, crops failed. Without crops, profits disappeared. And Roman landowners cared deeply about profits. Slave diets were usually simple: bread, porridge, beans, olives, sometimes vegetables, rarely luxury foods. Meals focused on survival rather than enjoyment. Many slaves remained hungry, Yet food represented security. A meal meant another day of life, another day of work, another day of endurance. Simple routines repeated endlessly. Wake, work, eat, sleep, repeat. Punishments could be severe. Roman masters held enormous power. Some treated slaves reasonably. Others were cruel. Whippings were common. Public humiliation occurred. Physical punishment served as a warning. Fear became a tool of control. Even small mistakes sometimes carried consequences. Ancient writers occasionally describe harsh punishments that shocked even other Romans. Life often depended entirely on the personality of a master. A kind owner could make existence bearable. A cruel owner could make every day miserable. Not all slaves performed manual labor. Some were highly educated. Teachers, secretaries, accountants, doctors, tutors. Greek slaves were especially valued for education. Wealthy Roman families often trusted educated slaves with important responsibilities. These individuals sometimes enjoyed better living conditions. Yet despite knowledge and skills, they remained slaves. Their intelligence increased their value, but it did not guarantee freedom. Many slaves shared one dream: freedom. The Romans called it manumission. A master could free a slave. Some earned freedom through years of loyal service. Others purchased freedom using saved money. Freedom transformed lives. Former slaves became freedmen. They could work independently, own property, start businesses, build families. Yet freedom was never guaranteed. Many slaves waited years. Some waited forever. Some never received the opportunity. Still, hope survived. Hope became one of the most powerful forces in a slave's life. As darkness covered Rome, the city changed. Torches flickered. Shadows stretched across stone streets. Merchants closed shops. Families gathered for evening meals. Some slaves finally rested. Others continued working. Night guards remained alert. Servants attended late gatherings. Kitchen workers cleaned after feasts. Even after sunset, labor often continued. For slaves, a long day rarely ended quickly. The Roman Empire built magnificent roads, beautiful temples, grand arenas, spectacular cities. But behind much of that success stood millions of slaves. Their labor supported the empire. Their hands built structures. Their effort powered households, farms, workshops, and businesses. Many left no written records, no monuments, no statues, yet their stories remain an important part of history. When we imagine ancient Rome, we often picture emperors, generals, and gladiators. But ordinary slaves formed one of the largest groups in Roman society. Their lives remind us that history is not only the story of the powerful, it is also the story of the people whose voices were rarely heard. And tonight, for a brief moment, we remember them.